Okay, so this is the pre-lecture to week 3, and I'm going to take about 10, 12 minutes and go over with you information that will prepare you for our Zoom session and our meeting. So this week's therapy model or focus is solution-focused brief counseling, different than person-centered. We'll talk about it. But basically, we're going to get out of the problem and into the solution. Maybe you've heard that before, but we're not going to focus on the problem so much. We're going to get right into what we can do about it. So let's talk about what this model is about. So, solution-focused brief counseling is one of the most utilized methodologies that you're going to use in school counseling. Because if you're a traditional school counselor, you may only have 1, 2, 3 times that you're going to meet with a student individually, if that. Let's say you have a caseload of 350 students. So there are situations where you're going to need to get right into problem solving. So different than what we talked about last week, right? So in a perfect world, or if you were a private therapist, you would spend time first a lot of time building rapport, trust, using those active listening skills, those person-centered, client-centered skills. And you would spend sessions just talking about feelings, right? And what's happening before you even moved into problem solving. This particular model, you get right to the point. Okay. So it doesn't mean you're not going to use some of those skills. It's just going to be an abbreviated model in terms of your person-centered skills, active listening and, that sort of thing. So, unless you're going to be a social worker in the schools and you're going to be meeting with students for, 10 times or in some support group where you meet for 10 weeks, you're going to need to get right to the issue. And in terms of school counseling, where this could be appropriate is anything related to maybe, academic goals, career goals, grades are suffering, there's too many absences, there's behavioral issues, some, conflict management. You have to get right to the solution. So this particular model is present and future focused. We're not going to spend time analyzing the past. We don't have time for that in this model. We're going to get right to what's happening now and how can things change in terms of behavior or whatever we're talking about, right? So this belief or this model also believes that the student has innate strengths and resources and has the ability to change, and that they can identify their own solutions to their problems with the guidance of the counselor. Remember, I talked about counselors do not give advice. We do not tell students what to do. This model is a it's a collaborative relationship. You're going to work with the student to empower the student to create their own plan, their own options, their own steps. And you want to focus on the student's strengths, not their deficits. So if a student comes in for behavioral issues or they have poor grades or what have you, we're not going to focus on, oh, this is awful, this is a bad thing, shame on you. I mean, not that we'd literally say any of that, but we're going to get right into what are some of your strengths? What are some of the options? What are some of the things that you can do? You're going to believe in the student that they can make the change. You're going to create goals that will determine the desired outcomes. You're going to create these together. This is what I don't want to hear from you when you're talking about offering options or solutions or steps. Little Johnny, this is what I want you to do. Number one, I want you to go talk to your teacher about your grades. Number two, I want you to spend 3 hours at home every day doing your homework Monday through Friday. Number four, you're going to attend tutoring every Thursday. You're not going to frame it that way. So you're saying, well, Lisa, a a lot of students don't know what to do. That's why they're there in the situation, right? And seeing you. So here are some steps or some suggestions. Now, there are various, you know, descriptions of these. I think some of them are in your course shell. They're all pretty similar, alrighty? But you're going to work together with the student to identify options and create steps to problem solve. This is what you're going to do. You may start the conversation. Let's say a student has poor grades. You may start the conversation saying, what are some of the things that you have done to try to raise your grades? Have you done anything? Can you share that with me? They may say something, right? And you'll talk about it, what worked, what didn't work. Sometimes students you'll ask them, hey, what do you think you need to do to bring up your grades? And they may offer some solutions. They may say, well, I need to spend more time on my homework and I need to get up earlier in the morning to whatever. Okay. You're gonna work with that. Sometimes students don't give you any information. They're gonna say, I don't know. I don't know. Seriously. All right. This is what you want to say. Johnny, I have some suggestions for you. The first one I have is, would you be willing to go talk with your teacher about meeting with them after school to go over the lesson that you don't understand? Is that something you can do? Right? You're going to say, well, I have another suggestion. How about if you attend tutoring? Did you know that we have tutoring on campus? Well, this is what you would do. It's in room 334 every Wednesday after school. Do you think you can go to tutoring this week? Is that something that you would be willing to do? Great. So do you hear what I'm saying? You're going to make suggestions, but you're going to ask the student, is this something you think you can do? Is this something you're willing to do? And what you're doing is you're empowering the student to agree and to almost make their own decision. You're giving them ownership of what they're going to do. You may write these down, whatever. Now, once you come up with two or three steps, and now you don't want to overwhelm the student. You don't want to say, well, we've got 7 steps for you to do this week. Start slow. You always want to talk about the outcome. Prepare the student for the outcome. Well, what do you think will happen if you go talk with your teacher after school about the lesson that you need more help on? What do you think will happen if you attend tutoring? Do you think that it would be helpful? What do you see, the results of that? So you want to prepare them for the outcome. They may say something like, oh, well, my teacher's mean and they're not going to help me and I don't see how I'm going to get scared. And well, then you'll explore that. Okay. So when you come up with a plan based upon what the student has told you they're willing to do, or suggestions that you offered to the student that they agreed upon, you want to ask want to summarize, right? And you want to ask for understanding. Now, Johnny, do you understand that the first step that we're going to do is you're going to talk with your teacher after school today or tomorrow? So you understand that, right? Do you have any questions about that? Any other feelings about that? All right. You want to obtain a commitment. Johnny, are you willing to do steps 1 and 2 by the end of the week? No? Okay. How about just the first step? Can you do one step? Oh, great. Okay. Then what we're going to do is we're going to meet next week. I'm going to follow up with you on Thursday. Whatever. So you want to set a follow-up date to check on the student and see if they fulfilled their requirement or followed through with the plan. All right. So I want you to remember or be mindful of we're not telling students what to do. Now, even though in our mind we know what the solution may be, we have what we think the students needs to do, but we're going to finesse our language. We're going to use those active listening skills. We're going to make suggestions. We're going to ask for clarification. We're going to ask for understanding. We're going to ask if they're willing to do this. We're going to ask if they're committed to doing it. So we're flipping it around. We're finessing to where the student is an active part in this. Okay? So, and again, all the while, you will be using your foundational counseling skills. You may need to ask open-ended questions to get more information. You may have an opportunity to touch on, what's really going on, some feelings, but, you may have 40 minutes and that's all you're going to have with the student. And then you're going to see him one other time. Okay. But but you still want to use those basic skills, okay? Those basic foundational client-centered, person-centered skills. But this particular model is you're going to get into the solution. And it is very applicable for certain types of counselors because again, you're only going to have so much time with a student. All right? So when we meet on uh, the next Monday, I want you to take into account what we've discussed. We're going to break into groups again. Um, we will role play a scenario that you will use this particular model. And in the meantime, if you have any questions, let me know. You can contact me. And with that, I will sign off and I wish you a fabulous day. Take care.